federal government being sued for failing to prevent a mentally ill man from buying a gun used to kill a 24-year-old woman.
Amidst a growing fentanyl crisis, a local nonprofit is passing out life-saving tools in our community.
Our Bracing for the Burn series continues. Which plants are fire resistant and which ones fuel fires? We verified.
It's a place that was once filled with slot machines, the biggest parties and the biggest artists of the day, and now it needs your help.
The barriers that LGBTQ+ patients face when trying to build a family.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
We begin with breaking news at MCAS Miramar, where crews are battling a brush fire on the base. Good evening, I'm Jesse Pagan in for Carla Ciccato.
I'm Marcella Lee. Now, we're told this fire has burned about 3 acres so far. If you live anywhere in the vicinity, we're sure that you can see the smoke. The good news is that CAL FIRE ground and air crews are actively fighting this fire right now. Air response was a little bit delayed at first because of military aircraft in that area. They had to make sure that the military aircraft was cleared before they could do those fire drops from above. And right now, this is a live look from right near that scene. You can see the fire helicopters up there dropping retardant. Ground crews have also had some trouble getting access, but the military is said to be helping out with the firefighting efforts as well. They do have military firefighting efforts on base. And even with this live video compared to what we saw just a few minutes ago from the CAL FIRE camera, you can see that that smoke appears to be dissipating a little bit. We will continue to monitor this fire, again located at MCAS Miramar, and bring you any new information here and on our social media platforms. Firefighters have already spent the afternoon getting handles on other small brush fires up in Fallbrook and in Kensington.
And we still haven't felt the peak of this heat. Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis here with a first look at your hot forecast.
Yeah, it's going to stick around, and it's actually been extended even longer when it does come to the heat alert, and then also another area to consider as well. So we got a lot to get to as we go through tonight. Talking about dry conditions, we have two factors right now, the heat as well as dry air. So when we take a look at relative humidity values, you are looking at a lot of those 20s and teens across inland areas. Closer towards the coast, you still have that marine influence, and therefore you still have those higher values, but you're looking at 23% relative humidity right now for La Mesa. Most inland areas are dealing with that. Fallbrook today was fairly dry, 26% relative humidity right now. So we are talking about an excessive heat warning. We've been talking about it for the past couple of days, at least for the mountains as well as the desert. But now you're noticing it has been extended to the inland area. So Fallbrook all the way towards Santee, you are seeing pink, and that is because an excessive heat warning will now start for that area on Friday. That will go all the way until Tuesday. I said Tuesday. It has now been extended by one more day. So initially it was all the way until 8 p.m. on Sunday, but it looks like this massive area of high pressure will stick around in our forecast, and that is impacting all across the west and even stretching in towards the southern states. So we'll go ahead and take a look at your complete forecast coming up. Marcella?
Thanks, Carlene. Right now, that heat is sitting in San Diego hard, and hotter weather, as Carlene just mentioned, is on the way. This heat wave is expected to push temperatures into the triple digits inland, as Carlene said, already doing so. Peak hours, just a reminder, between the hours of 4 and 9 p.m. So from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., SDG&E recommends that you don't do any laundry, don't run the dishwasher. Pre-cool your home before 4 p.m. because that's when the demand surges, and your prices for electricity can go up at 4 p.m. too.
Each and one of us can contribute to decreasing that cost by just turning off 1 kilowatt hour. And if 1,000 people do that, we are going to bring the cost down collectively. Then that's going to impact all of us down the road.
If you have a whole house fan, experts say those are okay, but you shouldn't use it if it's warmer outside of your home than inside of your home, because you'll just be bringing all of that hot air inside.
The federal government is facing several lawsuits over the wrongful death of a 24-year-old Navy hospital corps person.
Devin Rideout was ambushed and shot to death just steps away from her doorstep back in 2018 by a former Marine who was, by law, forbidden from buying weapons. CBS 8's Rocio de la Fe joins us now live with those details. Rocio?
This week, a U.S. district judge struck down and denied the federal government's motion to dismiss this lawsuit, meaning the case will now be moving forward in court. The attorneys representing this case say the tragedy could have been 100% preventable if the government had done its job. Now, nearly 5 years since Devon's death, her mother is seeking to hold the federal government accountable.
He had no right to buy a gun.
Leslie Wood is seeking justice in her daughter's death.
She would be alive today. You would be alive today if not for the negligence.
24-year-old Devon Rideout worked at a medical facility at Camp Pendleton. In 2018, she had just gotten home from work and was walking her dog when she was ambushed by Eduardo Arriola, a former Marine with a long history of mental illness.
Under federal law and under state law, he was forbidden from purchasing a gun legally.
Arriola was discharged from the military after he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was declared mentally incompetent. The military failed to submit the shooter's history to the FBI's background check system that ensures that disqualified persons cannot buy weapons.
Because of failings of the federal government, as well as the state government, there was never a stop put on that purchase.
If the Department of Defense and the Marines had done their job, Eduardo Arriola would have never gotten a gun. Devon Rideout would be alive today.
Arriola purchased the gun used in the shooting from Ironsight's shooting range, a gun store in Oceanside.
The gun store complied properly with the law.
Weeks later, he would use it to shoot Devon a total of 5 times. She died only steps away from her apartment. Arriola told police he'd killed her because she was trespassing. Officers later found a list of names inside Arriola's car, including Devon's name and the words R.I.P. written on it.
There are major unnecessary failings in the Department of Defense and its failure to comply with its obligations under the law.
Now, you might have noticed there were several people standing behind the attorneys and Devon's mother. They belong to 2 local organizations. One of them is Moms Demand Action and San Diegans for Gun Violence Prevention, again standing in solidarity with her and also demanding accountability from the federal government.
Rocio, have there been other instances in which criminal data has not been turned over to the FBI?
Unfortunately, this is not the first time that the federal government fails to input critical information into the NICS database system, as it's called. You might remember this happened back in 2017, in November 2017, when an Air Force veteran who was convicted of assault on his wife was able to purchase weapons, and he used 2 of those weapons to shoot and kill 26 people and injure more than 24 others. This happened in Sutherland Springs, Texas. It also happened again in Charleston, South Carolina, where white supremacist Dylan Roof was able to, again, under very similar circumstances, buy a weapon and use it to kill 9 people while they gathered in church. So again, all very similar circumstances in which these guns were purchased when they had no right to purchase them, and now we're watching it play out here in California.
All right, Rocio Delafay live for us tonight. Rocio, thank you. One of the oldest Black-owned buildings in San Diego needs your help. The Clementine McDuff Elks Lodge 598 has been in the community since 1925.
The building is more than 100 years old, and as CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes found out, there's already a movement to restore the space, but they need your help.
When you walk in the building, you can almost feel the rich history and all of the love that went into making this Elks Lodge the pride of place for San Diego. Etta James performed here. So did Nat King Cole and Billie Holiday. The owners say they want to return it back to its glory days for this and the next generation.
It was the center of Black entertainment.
Daniel Davis is a trustee on the board and a treasurer for the Clementine McDuff Elks Lodge 598.
We were considered #1 on the chitlin circuit.
You could get on the dance floor and you didn't have to move because so many was on the floor.
Simi Collins, chairman of the trustee board and the financial secretary, says the Elks and their building here on Hensley have a long history of serving and entertaining, and they want to leave a thriving legacy.
We're getting old and we're not replenishing.
No organization is going to succeed without a freshman class.
We're at Oya Art Gallery and Boutique here in the historic Elks Lodge in Logan Heights.
And that's where Kimberly Phillips P comes in.
There were slot machines from wall to wall on this side, and then on that side there are two 50 to 60-year-old poker tables that are still here.
She's been volunteering for the Elks Lodge to help bring the building and the group back into the spotlight. Kim says it's a time for fresh faces, ideas, and a fresh future while there's still a chance.
We can't allow them to do all the work, and we can't expect them to take care of it because they need our help.
And that's where you come in, if you're willing to lend a hand.
It's fully paid for, so there's no rent or mortgage due on the building. With 100 years, the pipes are also 100 years old, and so anytime there's an issue, they have fronted the bills.
Simi and Daniel say they're seniors looking for the next freshman class to come in and take the lead.
Hey, this is ours, and we want to cherish it.
The few of us diehards is not going to let it die.
Kirsten Holmes, CBS 8.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Yeah, I hope they get some support.
Here's hoping. Pacific Beach now has a new shuttle to help people get around to beaches and restaurants.
Yes, and it's an electric beach bug shuttle, and the goal is to help make it easier for visitors and people who live here to get around. Now, these shuttles will connect Pacific Beach to the Balboa Avenue Transit Center. For the first 3 months, the shuttles will be absolutely free for everyone, so get on board, try it out. After that, a day pass will cost you $2.50. A lot easier than parking if it works and if it's available.
It's very useful on holidays like we just had on the 4th of July. Maybe use that to get along instead of your own car. Don't have to worry about parking.
Right, have to look into that. Try it out.
Yeah. Still ahead tonight, the steps one local man is taking to try and help prevent fentanyl overdose deaths.
Plus, the clock is ticking right now. We are just hours away from a likely strike by Hollywood actors. The impact it could have on your favorite shows, this year's Emmy Award ceremony, and San Diego Comic-Con.
And up next, how the plants around your home could help or hurt you during a brush fire.